Right. So first thing I want to say is obviously good morning to everyone who's watching this, and thank you for how you've started this year. If it hadn't have been for all the pupils and obviously all the staff and the hard work they've put in, then we'd have had pupils sent home quite a long time ago. So there's been a lot of worry and anxiety and questions around what happens if a year group has to go home? What happens if I have to go home? And hopefully this assembly just answers a lot of those questions. Okay, so there are certain scenarios that will lead to or create some part of a closure. So we could have a member of a year group that tests positive for coronavirus. Now what would happen there is we'd use a seating plan. So every seating plan in every lesson is really important because we can see who has been in contact with that person. So there is a flow chart that shows us exactly what we mean by contact, that we would use to identify people that have been in close proximity that would then have to self-isolate. We'd use our own kind of track and trace to work out all the pupils that most likely to have been in contact with the person testing positive, and we'd also inform every parent and carer of pupils that we would have to send home. Second scenario is a member of staff tests positive. So again, we'd have to identify contacts. Now, staff, even though they're in classrooms, won't have that same contact as pupils will because they're not moving around the building, they're not doing lunches and breaks with them. So again, we'd carry out our own track and trace, and we'd contact any parents and carers of pupils that we felt had had what constitutes contact with that member of staff. We also have members of staff awaiting tests either for themselves or for pupils. So the thing is, we are doing everything we can to keep school open. Absolutely everything we can. So we are bringing supply staff in. We brought all the supply staff that we already employ. We are doing everything we can to keep school running, and we will continue to do everything we can to keep school running. Okay, so there are all the different scenarios that could create some form of closure. So what if a year group is sent home? So you could be sent home for anything from 1 day to 2 weeks under a variety of those scenarios. So it may be that we're really low on staff, we can't get supply staff in, we might have to keep alternating year groups that are in school. You might be out for a couple of days a day, or it might be that your year group is self-isolating and you would be at home for 2 weeks. So we wouldn't have a 6-month closure like last time. At the minute, maximum 2 weeks, minimum 1 day. All communication of closures will be shared with families by Mr. Randall. So unless you hear or your parents hear something from Mr. Randall, you still continue to come to school as normal. The thing is, your education has to continue at home. You can't afford to have gaps in your learning. You can't afford, you know how hard it is when you just miss a lesson from being absent yourself. It's really hard to pick it back up straight away. Everyone in school has now participated in a Google Classroom induction session. It was delivered by your IT teachers. If you missed that, either speak to your IT teacher or go onto the Hollingworth Academy YouTube channel, and there's a video on there as to how to use Google Classroom. Any pupils who face barriers to remote learning, so for example, they haven't got a laptop at home, have been identified via a survey that's been completed in school. Solutions will be offered, but you must tell us if there's a problem with working from home. We can try and fix everything we know about. If we don't know about it, we can't do anything about it. So any issues that you think, ooh, that's going to stop me working from home and I don't want to fall behind, tell someone. As of now, all remote education assignments, tasks, homeworks will be set by class teachers via Google Classrooms. You must complete them and keep up to date. Feedback from teachers will be given via Google Classrooms, and at sometimes where there's a longer closure, we will be doing live lessons like I'm doing now. You, like you would in class, you're expected to act on all teacher feedback. So if a teacher asks you to correct something, if a teacher asks you to improve something, you're expected to do it just like you would when you're in school. Your engagement in every task and the quality of the work you complete at home will be monitored, just like your teachers would in school. Reporting to parents will continue, and we will report on the work you do at home as of now. What's gone has gone. Okay, we're not going to report on what happened in the big lockdown. What we will report on is any lockdowns that happen now. So parents will be informed if work's being done to a good quality, and parents will also be informed when work's not being done. The remote education timetable will just follow your normal timetable. So you'll get 5 lessons a day, and the deadlines will be on the day they are set, not like the 2 weeks that we were doing last time, because people found that going on and seeing 40, 50, 60 pieces of work really overbearing. So they'll be there for the day. You've got to keep on top of it, keep on track with it. We're bringing live lessons in on Google Classroom, so the schedule for that will be published. But you also have access to paper-based knowledge organisers from a number of subjects. So let's say your internet goes down, you've got those knowledge organisers to keep you on track. Every single pupil is expected to engage in remote education. There can't be any excuses. You've got to get rid of these excuses now. So if you know there's a problem, solve it today. Now, our school ethos is that everyone excels every day. Never before has this been more important for pupils. Whether it's in school or out of school, we've got to be excelling every single day. So the 3 values: be responsible. You have got to continue your education. I said before, we can't afford gaps in our knowledge. Be responsible for your routines. If you're sent home for 2 weeks, get up at your normal school time. Get onto Google Classrooms. Take control of staying on track. Got to be resilient. It's really hard working at home, but I can't think of a single pupil in this school that doesn't want to be successful. But it doesn't just happen. Just walking down the path to Hollingworth, just being part of the Hollingworth community doesn't guarantee success. People have to work hard. It's not going to be forever. Keep on top of it. Take control of the situation. Make it work for yourself. Be respectful to yourselves, your families, your staff. Everybody at this school wants you to be successful. We've got to have you want that more than anyone else. You've got to take control of the success that you're going to have at Hollingworth, and remote learning is going to probably be part of it. Now, last time was so difficult. It was so hard keeping on top. So we listened to pupils, we've listened to parents, we've listened to staff, and we agree, which is why we've made so many changes to remote learning. We've moved to Google Classroom, which is a better VLE platform. Staff have worked on what works and improved on what didn't work, which is the important bit. There were certain bits that just didn't work for anybody, so we've improved on that. You've got to trust us with this. Some lessons will be live through Google Meet, and staff are being trained on that. Feedback will be given on work better than before. Last time on the old VLE, you had to go into a task, you had to go into a pupil to actually see whether they'd sent you a comment and see whether they'd submitted work. Now staff get emails. As soon as you send something, staff get a notification. So it can be really quick, really responsive to your needs. We've got systems in place for those who couldn't access work last time, but you have got to tell us, you've got to let us know if there's a problem with accessing online work. Being resilient is about not making excuses. So if you are sent home as a year group, if you are home for 2 weeks and you come back saying, well, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, you've let yourself down in so many respects. Got to be resilient, got to not make excuses. We're all in this together. Staff, pupils, parents, carers, we all want the best for each and every one of the 1,400 pupils at this school. So just to finish off, there's 3 ways of staying in touch if you are sent home. Make sure your parents are following us on either Facebook at Hollingworth Academy or Twitter at Hollingworth AC. There is so much information that goes onto our social media. It's probably one of the best and most informative social media pages of schools that I know of. And like I mentioned before, we've also got our Hollingworth Academy YouTube channel, which has got lots of informative videos on about accessing Google Classrooms at the minute. Okay, so that's everything from me. I hope you have a great week. Please keep up the hard work with the social distancing. Lessons have been amazing, and thank you for that. Have a great week, and I will see you around.